Hi, and welcome to my channel. Today's video is about the Gotham City Sirens, and it's half inspired by the spooky season and half because I didn't know what else to draw. So I wanted to settle back into something familiar. For some reason, I couldn't decide what to draw this week, and I actually cycled through a couple ideas before landing here. At first, I thought I would do some Diaz Drake fan art, since October 24th is his birthday, and I've been back on my One Piece rewatch, but I also didn't want to not make any Halloween-related content this month, so I decided to make some Gotham City Sirens fan art instead. Now, you might be thinking, that's still not Halloween content, and you would technically be right, so let me explain my thought process here. So, we have Halloween, and there's a Batman comic series by the name of The Long Halloween, which obviously features Gotham, and a few of Batman's rogues gallery. And like I said before, I wanted to stick to familiar territory, so of course I picked these ladies. If you wanted to look at it from another angle, any of the Gotham Sirens are very popular choices for Halloween costumes, which is why my first idea was actually to have these three swap costumes, but as you can see, that idea never made it to the video, because upon having that idea, I went on Pinterest and immediately saw that someone else had already drawn that exact same thing. So I'm just sticking to drawing these three and putting a little bit of my own spin on some of the designs. So for Catwoman, aka Selina Kyle, it was less of a redesign and more of a combination of a lot of different elements that I liked from various Catwoman designs over the years. I really liked the oversized ears on the Absolute Catwoman design, but combined with a more classic cowl with the goggles. And the goggles I wanted to look more dramatic to fit with the style of the piece, so I made those bigger too. A design I've grown to like, actually, is the Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman suit. I don't necessarily like how overtly sexual the costume is meant to look, but I like the idea of the suit having that homemade quality with the stitch lines, so I incorporated some of that into this drawing as well. Honestly, I put the most effort into drawing Harley Quinn because the pose I chose for her actually includes her entire body, unlike the other two. Harley's redesign is a lot more obvious, but she also has such a strong aesthetic with just enough versatility. I think she's easily recognizable even if there are a lot of changes made. Basically, the design I settled on for her is just bringing back some of the Jester vibes to her more modern iteration. And just to emphasize her silliness, Harley is drawn just a little bit more cartoonishly than the other two sirens, and I also put a little guy in the bottom of her section of the piece because she just finished beating him up, and the angle is like she's smiling and posing for a security camera that caught her in the act. Just clown girl things, you know? For Poison Ivy, the pose and angle I chose basically made it impossible to redesign anything but her eyes, which is actually just similar to the Uma Thurman Poison Ivy, with the leaves around the eyes. But honestly, having less to draw for Ivy is not a problem for me. I've drawn her a few times in the past, but I don't think I've ever found a design that I really like. So instead, I drew a rose in her hand that covers everything I don't want to draw. Unfortunately, that means I have to draw a rose, which I would normally prefer not to do, but I think at least the cartoonier style makes it a little bit easier. I've been kind of trying to get into reading comics recently, because if it wasn't obvious from the other videos on my channel, a lot of my comic knowledge is kind of like secondary information, either based on movie or TV adaptations, or just straight up research from Wikipedia. I don't subscribe to the idea of fake fans. I think if you like something, it's fine to not know everything about it, but I have been starting to feel a little bit of imposter syndrome since I started making more content related to Marvel and DC. So I figured I should probably get to know more about the characters I talk about from the source material. But it's also been kind of intimidating because I don't really know where to start. So if you have any suggestions, favorite character runs, or reading lists, please share any or all of them with me in the comments. So now we're finishing up this piece, and I have to say, I really like this vibrant, punchy style that I went with. I am going to be uploading this design on Redbubble, so if you want this piece on a t-shirt or whatever, you can find the link to that in the description below. And let's take a look at the final render. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you have any suggestions for video ideas, you can let me know in the comments below. Follow me on Instagram at KaylinVerse to see the rest of my work, and you can also find my stuff for purchase on Redbubble and Imprint, so make sure you check those out, and thanks for watching. I will see you next time.